What up, what up? What's going on, Ground family? Your boy Sean P coming in live, giving another Sean P experience, man. How y'all doing on this wonderful, wonderful Friday? We going in, man. So I know some of my educators out there, it's your last Friday, enjoying this summer vacation. The summer seems like a flash these days. I know in my childhood, we ain't go back to like after Labor Day, man. They're going back earlier and earlier now. So I know it's probably your last Friday, but today we have a real hot show lined up just for you guys. So, first and foremost, people coming on in. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? What's up? So, for those that don't know, I feel like the old Jay-Z song, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is, my name is Sean P. For those that don't know, 5-time self-published author. Also, there go my sister. Trying to bring it on in. What's going on? What's going on? Good afternoon. I'm seeing you. Peace, 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 peace. I'm bringing the sister on in right here. She already what's up. Let me see if I can bring it in. I just sent the invite. There we go. What's up, sis?
How you doing?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Doing a little intro.
Yeah, thank you
Don't
for having
mind
me
me.
on, man. I appreciate it.
Yes. So, as I was saying, I'm doing my little intro right quick, my little spiel, right? So, 5-time author Sean P., the co-founder of Penn Publications, and also public speaker and college psychologist, man. So, what I want to do is, I've been blessed to have some real wonderful super friends in Instagram, Facebook, and my real life is dope as I don't know what. So I said, you know what? I want to start doing an interview process while bringing some of these people onto the camera because I want the community to see some of these brilliant, smart, wonderful people that have so much to give to the community and give them their flowers while they can smell them. You know what I'm saying? So today is the first ever Instagram interview I ever have done. I've done a lot on Facebook. You can go to my Facebook platform. I've been interviewed a ton of times, but this is my first time interviewing in this Bookstagram universe. So this is my first guest. No further ado, my sister, you see it on the screen. The Empress Ra is in the building. What's going on, sis?
Peace. How you doing, brother? First of
Man,
all,
I'm
thank you
doing,
for bringing me on because
yeah.
this your first interview you doing up here. But look, this is my first time doing an interview. This is my first time even, speaking about the book and everything. So I'm happy to be here. I appreciate you for having me on. I
Yes.
guess I can. You want me to go and introduce myself a little bit, tell a little bit about myself?
Okay. Well, I'm
All
gonna give you
right.
some little flowers first, and then we can go to your spiel, right? So we'll do a little
All right.
small spiel, right? So my sister we have right here, for those that don't know, this sister is so incredible. I started following her page years ago in the Facebook space and other spaces. Her movie breakdowns are ridiculous. We'll get to that later in the interview. Breaking down numerology, astrology, the chakra system, meditation, mental health, all of these things that we deal with. A lot of us talk about self-care a lot these days, all this pandemic stuff going on, a lot of stress and anxiety. People like this made those concepts easy to digest. So this is why I started following this sister page and her wonderful husband as well. And she has a wonderful podcast, The Black Occultist. Go to Spotify, go to Anchor, get that right now. She got crazy episodes. We'll get to that a little bit in detail later. But go ahead, that's my little spiel and my flowers. I appreciate you. Have at it, my sister.
All right. Thank you for showing me all that love. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we do this.
But for you, anybody who don't know me, my name is Rakia. You might know me as Empress Raw, the Black Occultist. And this is my first book. I co-wrote it with my husband, Orlando. He's up here on Instagram and on other platforms as the Number Guide.
Gotta
And
follow
so,
her.
we wrote our first book, A Guide to Inner Peace, a book about numerology. And as you stated, I really decided that I wanted to brand around the occult. And it was kind of different. I knew it was going to kind of be like a shock thing with it, because it's so many taboos and, negative stereotypes around that word. It's like a trigger word. And I really wanted to kind of redefine and kind of demystify those topics. because it was
Yeah.
topics like astrology, you know, numerology and mental alchemy and stuff like that that really helped me to change my life, because I was going through a whole lot of things and trying to find myself, and I just felt like I just lacked direction, you know. And so I started to search. I got a little adventurous, and I started to explore this space, and I realized why it's the occult, or you know, because occult, it just means hidden. And I realized that because it's very empowering information. You know what I mean? When you can be self-aware and be aligned with yourself and understand energy and really understand what you're capable of, it opens up, you know, a whole new different world for you.
Mm.
And the first thing that I naturally wanted to do, me being me, getting that information, was I said, hey, the way that this helped me, I want to help others. And that's kind of how I kind of drifted into it. All started sharing content initially, you know, blogging a little here or there, doing
Yep.
YouTube
Vlog.
videos. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, was like, hey, I found this helpful, et cetera, et cetera. And I just kept on building with it. And it's been, I would say I've honestly been studying it now for about 10 years. And I've always been kind of hesitant about jumping out there because I wanted to be sure that I was just solid in my foundation before trying to, you know, give to others. You know what I mean? So I wanted to make my intention pure, make sure that I was coming from a solid place where, you know, love was my intention. And, you know, here it is, you know, we finally got the first book down. So I think that now that we got that first
Yes.
one out the way, it's
Congratulations.
like, hey man, put them in the
Congratulations.
layup line, you know,
Touchdown.
it's just
Touchdown.
coming so
You know,
easy now.
it's like money, right? They said supposedly, I haven't done it yet. They said once you make 1 million, you can do it again.
Yeah,
Or once you get into that 100,000 bracket, you can do it again. So
right.
same thing with these books. I found my personal self as an author. Once I did that first book and got over all of those obstacles, we'll get to some of that later. I was able to kick them out after that. People say, man, how you
Right.
did 5 books so fast? How you did 4 books in the pandemic? Once you do it one time, you have the formula and the format and the template. You can just, it's like paint by numbers after that first time, man. So we just breaking it on it, man. The fellas coming there, Reggie reads, I see y'all. A black man reads, I'm seeing everybody. I appreciate y'all heavy hitters coming check your boy out, man. So you almost answered 3 of the first questions in your first statement.
Okay.
You went into some of these things, but I want to ask you, when it comes to numerology and astrology, the occult period, tell me some of the stereotypes that people have a knee-jerk reaction to. You know, we here in the South, very heavy on Christianity, of course. We have
Yeah.
those backgrounds, and me being in Louisiana, we have that voodoo culture and all that. It's
Right.
all
Right.
taboo here in the South. So tell me some of those things where why we have the misconceptions about numerology and astrology. People are like, nah, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to talk about numbers. I don't want to look at star systems. Tell me
Yeah.
some of your thoughts about that in your studies.
Okay. Well, I think, well, to start it off, initially, I think that one of the main things is because of our tradition, the way we grew up, like you said, in the South. See, I'm from North Carolina. I'm from the South, real
Yeah,
South. My grandmother is a minister,
yeah.
so
My
you
grandparents
know,
too.
yeah, we was heavy in the church, so we always went
Heavy.
to the church, and it was just too many things that I just could not pull it together,
I can
and
resonate.
I genuinely didn't get into it because I wanted to discredit anything. And I think, you know what I'm saying? I genuinely got in it because I just wanted it for myself. You know what I mean? I just wanted to be better. I didn't like what I was feeling inside. And it honestly, at a young age, that's what made me go to the church, because I just wanted to be happy as a young child. And I don't know why this is, but I always felt kind of like down, always felt kind of like sad. And I just wanted to get over that feeling. And I just always kind of searched for, like, why do I always feel this way? And it just made me search myself. And back in 2009, that's when I moved to Atlanta. When I went to Life University, I got into their chiropractic program. And for the first time in my life, I was like living away on my own, even though I went to undergrad and everything, but I was literally in a city and in a place where everything that I did was reliant on me. And when I got in that space, I had never, where I come from is a very small town, very rural area. So everybody's the
Me
same.
too.
So when I got to this place, I got to Atlanta, it was like, wow, I mean, honestly. And I went to Life
Culture shock.
University, where it's very diverse because it's a chiropractic school. So there were so many international students, and I had never been introduced to that type of diversity. You know what I'm saying? All these different type of cultures, all these different type of people. It's people from Nigeria, it's people from Haiti, it's people from Germany, it's people from Paris. I never met these different types of people. You know what I'm saying? And going to these different areas, seeing all these different things, and it just opened me up, and I just started to read. I don't even know what drove me, honestly. I just started to read different things, and in reading them different things, it helped me in a way I've never been helped before. No matter what I studied, no matter what church, no matter none of that, it never helped me that way before. And I
Right.
knew that this was it. It changed my life. Like I got out of the chiropractic program because I realized when I got into that information, I'm not doing none of this for me. This is why I'm unhappy and I'm not content, because I'm not following a path for me. All I'm doing is doing things that, well, people say, hey, you go to college, you get a job with college, you have a good job, make good money.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. And I just needed to find myself. And that's what numerology and astrology really kind of did for me. And growing up in the church, so especially from the South, and especially in a place where nobody is into this type of thing, I had to
No.
go against a lot of self, like,
I
shame and
wanted to
stuff.
ask you
Like, I
that.
had to get through some
Yeah.
real, I mean, it was some real dark stuff I had to get through just to
Yeah.
make myself open and available to it. And when I really dug in it, what made it real powerful for me is I put the two together. You understand? Like, astrology is in the Bible. Christianity is based off of
A
astrology,
lot
whether
of
you
these
know it or
things. A
not,
lot of
in
these
your words or
things.
not. Numerology
Yeah.
is all throughout the Bible. There's
A
reason
lot of these.
that Jesus crucified at the age of 33. There's the reason that they talk about 7 churches and 7 cities, and they talk about all those things. And when I got that knowledge, that's what made the Bible make sense. Prior to that, the Bible never made sense.
It
And
kind of like
I
unlock
studied
that
it.
door, right?
It
It was a
did.
key.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, it hit me. I understand why this is the hidden information, because this is the side that's going to teach you how to actually apply this to your life, so that you don't just feel like you have to hopelessly, look out or expect help, when it's like, oh, wow, this is something that actually empowers me. And
Yeah.
that's what drove me,
Yeah.
to it. And I wanted to
And,
give other people that power.
right.
That was the
Right.
thing. I really wanted to give other people that power, because I felt changed. I felt like I just wasn't, I just wanted to be free. If it makes any sense, you know what I'm saying?
No, it
If it
makes
makes
perfect
sense.
sense. I mean, once again, me being a child from the South myself,
Mm-hmm.
my grandfather being a 70-plus-year pastor, my grandmother the first lady of that church for all those 70-plus years, and then my dad's side of the family, highly religious as well. So as a child growing up, I was at somebody's church like
Right.
7 days a week.
Yeah,
On
man. Look,
Sundays,
Bible
2 a
study,
days. You know what I'm
everything.
saying?
Look here,
But
vacation Bible school.
and we're not gonna stay on that too long, but I want to ask you a question. You said whenever you started to read for yourself and get this knowledge, it opened everything up. And a lot of these religions and churches, it's highly frowned upon to read like other texts, like other
I think
books.
you're right.
Like
And
in
I
certain
think,
churches, you can't read the Torah or the Quran, or like it's just like just read these books that we give you, and like that's it. If you ask a question outside of that, it's frowned upon. You ostracized. You the bad apple, those kind of things. So it's interesting when you start reading these books outside of the curriculum they're giving you.
mm-hmm.
It's frowned upon, you know.
Yeah, and I think we got to realize that we can't ignore the fact that religious institutions have been used historically to control the masses of the
Control the
people.
message.
And we don't have to, two things can be true. We can acknowledge that, and it doesn't mean we have to not have a relationship with the higher power, with the creator. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
it's just so embedded in us. You know, it's
It
so
is.
embedded in us, and we have to.
It is.
And I think what really broke the mold for me was going deep
I
into the
see you,
history
Akil.
of it, like the slave history. Honestly and truly, going into the slave history broke it for me
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
was like, when I realized that going to church was a part of you being a slave, it made me think about it different. It was like,
yeah,
why is
yeah,
this
yeah.
necessary
Hmm.
for the slave mentality? And that took me in a rabbit hole.
So back to the movie breakdowns. We get to that a little bit later. Not just yet. Y'all wait for the movie breakdown part. Probably my favorite part. But the movie, I think it was Birth of a Nation,
Mm-hmm.
and they're showing the slaves, and they're making Nat Turner read to these slaves these passages, you know. And at a certain point in that book too, to where, I mean, in that movie where he was a little boy going into the master's like this book room, and the woman said to him, "No, you can't read those books. You're going to read this book." I'm in the movie theater like, what was those other books, right? What were those other books? But no, you
Right,
can't read those
exactly.
books. You can only read this book that we giving you. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, it was just so much in there, you know.
And
Checking these
then, you
comments
know,
right quick. They
and just
going
like you
in.
said,
Yeah,
you get into books that's written that lets you know, the particular Bibles that was meant for the slaves. And you know, it's just entertaining
yeah.
all of that. It gives you a different perspective. And I tell people that, you know, a lot of people always say, well, why do people say you have to do your own research? And
Man,
it's very vital that you do it because you have to make the connections yourself. It's like
you
your
got to be
brain
able
got to
to
make the
read and
connection.
divide for yourself, right? Read and
Exactly.
divide for yourself, right?
Exactly.
That's even biblical. That's even in the system itself, you know. You got to be able to read and divide. Before I move on, every church I've been a part of, I was blessed to have a real cool connection with the pastor.
Hmm.
And I asked the pastor a question one time. I said, Pastor, if it take you all week to prepare this message for Sunday, you got all your PowerPoint slides, all your scriptures, everything lined up, right? He said, yeah. You give us a 40-minute spiel, whatever, 30-minute spiel, and then church let out, everybody just shake hands and leave. Do you
Hmm.
think they all got the message? He was like, I don't think so. But nobody stay and ask you extra questions. Nobody stay and say, well, I don't understand that verse. Or I don't understand this. I didn't see it like that. Nobody ever have any kind of feedback or pushback. He was like, no. Like, they just taking it just, like, how could that make sense? It took you all week to compile this message, and y'all just got it in 40. Y'all that smart to get it in 40 minutes?
Yep.
I'm not that smart. I'm not going to
And
lie.
see, it's so interesting you say that, Sean. I never forget, man. I was 10 years old. I would never
Yeah.
ever forget this, man. I was 10 years old, and I used to be in the church, and I used to be sitting right there, and I used to write down what the preacher was talking about, bro. I used to really sit there and write it down. I was a little kid because I genuinely, really, really just wanted to know. I just wanted some truth. And it's like the older that I got, I just kept getting pushed to, you just don't ask them questions, you know. But I
Yeah.
really wish that we were better equipped to have those conversations, because I think that it
Yeah.
would have just been so much easier. Because as I got into that information, I had a rift with my family because they couldn't understand where I was going,
Me
and it
too.
was like,
Same
I'm
thing.
not trying
Same
to.
thing. Same
Yeah,
thing.
it was like,
Same thing. I
and
think all of us
finally,
experienced that.
right. And
So
see what
whenever
I'm
you
saying?
first start getting that information, when you
I
first start
told my
getting that
grandmother one
information,
time.
it's like, I'm not down with the Thanksgiving thing. I'm not
Right,
down with the Christmas thing. I'm
right,
not down with the Easter thing. And then when you start talking like that, they're looking at you like you a heathen, or
right,
you know you done lost your mind.
right.
It's Easter Sunday, boy. You know, all that kind of talk. But it's like, it's fun how life works with the knowledge. It's a big old circle, right? Because once you like branch off, I don't want to say the word leave, but once you branch off and go into these other systems and other texts, you go back full circle and see that same Bible with a way different lens.
Mm-hmm.
I might
Mm-hmm.
quote the Bible more now at this point in my life than I did in
Back
my 20s,
then. Right. And I said, and
because
you
I
know
see the
what? And I can
connections, you
understand
know?
it. And I can
Yeah.
genuinely understand what I'm saying to you, because I think that's the important part. We need to be able to relay it to ourselves. And that teaching is lost to us now. We don't have it anymore. You know, and I tell my grandmother, I told her, she taught me how to research. I learned this from her. I used to watch her because we grew. I mean, she pretty much raised us because my mom worked a lot of third shift
Thank you,
jobs.
Akil. Thank you. Thank you. I see in the comments. They going in the
Oh,
comments. They going
oh,
live.
okay. I
They
wasn't
loving it.
even
They
looking
loving
there.
it. They loving it.
And
No, you zoned in. Keep going. You focus.
Yeah, and she taught me because I used to watch her. I used to watch her prepare for her sermons. I used to watch her read and do her highlighting. And it hit me, man, about 4, 5 years ago. I said, wow, I literally do this the exact same way. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like my
yeah,
gospel might be a wider range, but I'm doing the same. I'm literally going
yeah,
about this the same. So I can see
yeah,
how even though that information might have been too much for her, but it made the way for me.
yeah, yeah,
You know, so I
yeah,
could see how it go.
yeah.
And now, and even now, after all these years, you know, when we first stopped eating pork, they was on some, you know, are y'all Muslim? No, it's just better for you. Now they won't eat pork either. You
Bruh,
know what I'm
let
saying?
me
Now
tell you
they sit
this.
there don't eat
Whenever
meat.
I'm real casual. It's casual Friday, but whenever I do jump fresh, I like to wear bow ties. For like 12 years, I wear bow ties to be different. So
Right,
whenever I come around, they say, "Oh, there goes Sean with the bow tie." Like they assume I'm Nation of Islam, and I love Nation of Islam. Shout out to them, but I'm
right,
not a
right,
part of the nation.
right,
But whenever
right.
you in the South and you're a black man wearing a bow tie, you
That's how
automatic
they do. Yep.
because we had so much limited information. I think the past generation, and we had so much misinformation in the media.
Right.
The minute you mention Malcolm X, you mention Elijah Muhammad, you mention anything with the nation or any of that, they go straight push it to the side. Like, we don't want to hear it. Shut up. Be quiet. Like,
Yep.
you go turn to a pillar of salt. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yep. I
But let
totally
me tell you something
understand.
too. These pastors, this is what I don't like about some of these pastors. They go to seminary and theology school and all that stuff, right?
Hmm.
They know more of this knowledge than they ever put on.
Yes, they do.
My grandfather know way more knowledge than people ever realize from behind that pulpit.
They absolutely do. I've
And
had
you know when I
conversations with many
realized
of
it?
them.
You know when I realized it? I'm about to be personal, real 2 minutes, personal, maybe a minute. My grandmother on her dying bed, she's just laying there, right?
Hmm.
And the last few days before she passed, she was just laying there, her eyes closed, but her mouth would move a little bit.
Hmm.
You couldn't hear anything, it wasn't audible. But she would
Hmm.
just move her lips. I'm sitting beside my grandfather on the opposite bed, looking at my grandmother just kind of. It's like the day before she passed, like the 12-hour window before she passed. My
Uh-huh.
grandfather said, "You see that? You see what she doing? You see that?" I'm looking like what? He said, "She talking." And he said, for the past 2 days, she was calling different names of people that died way before your mama was born.
Right.
But she's seeing her siblings, she's seeing her cousins, she's seeing
Yep.
certain people. Now, outside of this moment, this is like spooky talk.
Right.
As
Right.
far as my understanding of my grandfather in religion, I never
Right.
heard my grandfather talk about spirits and things like that
Yeah.
until that moment. That was the most aha moment. Like, what you mean, Papa? Like you talking like this?
Yep.
And she was saying names and it was just amazing, man. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's
I can
amazing.
understand. I had a great aunt. She was in her last days, in her final days, and she started saying she was seeing her son Kevin, and and he had passed like years ago, and I already knew. I already knew that it's only gonna be a certain amount of time because she already seen on the other side, and they like, well, what you mean? And see, that's what I'm saying. Like that's lost to us now. You know that like us understanding, and like you said, it's become such a spook thing.
It's taboo.
And when
Taboo.
that pretty much was all we were, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? All we were
Yeah.
was what we call the spook stuff now. So it's like, where
Yeah.
did that go? And I just feel so I feel very pulled to pull that back because, like I
Yes.
said,
I tell
it's helped me a lot.
I tell folks all the time, if you close your eyes and go like hundreds of thousands of years back before the colonizers, what do you think we was doing over there?
Right,
It wasn't Easter.
right,
It wasn't Christmas. It
right. We gonna
wasn't
talk about the
it
white
wasn't
man,
it
but
wasn't it wasn't
right.
Ash Wednesday. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
It was these systems.
yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, we got to
At the
go
first
back to
page,
what our people was doing.
gone. The first page of questions, right? So now we're going on to the second page of questions. So now we're getting down to your actual book. I know you got one on hand, I'm sure, a physical copy on hand. Show it to the people. Your first publication, right there, Manifest.
Yeah, we
Manifest.
got a copy on a
Tell
guide
them
to
how they
inner
can get
peace.
it. Tell them where they can get it. Give them the plug right
Y'all
now.
can get it on
Right now.
Amazon. It's on Amazon on
Amazon.
Kindle
I got the
and on
Kindle
paperback.
edition,
Or you can
paperback.
go to the website. We got it on the website too. So,
Give them the
and the way
website.
we got it on there is if you want to get the paperback from us directly, you get the ebook as well for free.
Wow, look at
So
that
we did it
deal.
like that. Because a
So
lot of,
give
I
give
know
us.
me personally, I like to get the book. I'm not a big ebook person. I'll read it. Don't get me wrong. I'll read tons of ebooks, but I like to have that physical copy. I need it in my hand.
Right. So tell me, out of all the topics you cover in your repertoire, what made you choose numerology for your first book?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be
Okay.
honest.
Yeah.
The first book, the numerology, I gotta give all the credit to my husband on this one. I gotta give it to him because he honestly he outlined this book 2 years ago. You know,
Wow.
he outlined it 2 years ago
You
because
already had it in the tuck. You already had it
yes,
tucked.
his impact, like he would meet so many people and he would just read them and they would just be like, wow. And everybody was just like, man, how can I know more? How can I do more? And he was like, well, I've been thinking about doing a book. And people would just been talking about, bro, you need to really do that book, do that book, do that book. And it's 2 years, probably longer than this. So he planted that seed that long ago. And the pandemic with everything going on, we was like, we need to
Yeah.
finish this book. Why haven't we finished it? And so
Yeah.
we sat down, and with him already having the outline, he made it a lot easier for me. You know what I'm saying? So I just came in with his outline, and we literally sat and just conversed like through the whole thing. That's just how we just sat and we just wrote it, just the whole
Now,
thing.
let me tell the viewership about what you just said. I want to say this as far as my reader opinion, right? This is a very, very easy read book, and the topic like numerology to most of us outside the circle, that's a very complex topic. Like these numbers, and I suck at math anyway. I don't know if anybody else do. Math is not my strong suit, so when it comes to all these numbers, I'm confused anyway. But then the first chapter or two, they teach you how to go about finding your number and what those numbers mean, how to go about breakdown sequences and all that. So it's a very easy read publication,
Hmm. I mean, if you
easily
want, you know what? I
easily
would like to say
digestible.
we can kind of do a little example if you want to
Go
do an
ahead, go
example
ahead,
on
yeah, go
what
ahead. I
somebody
kind
want
of
to give
sort of
their
had that in my mind,
anybody want to
but I
give their
didn't.
birthday. We
Oh, I
can give
guess
one the people get their birthday.
somebody give a birthday. A black man read. What's your birthday, my brother? We're doing this in real time. Getting down with the mathematics. My sister, Empress Rob, breaking down her wonderful, wonderful book and
But
much,
see,
much
like,
more on the first interview.
okay, April. What's that? April 9th. Can I get your year?
Yep. A black man read is
Okay,
okay.
so black man reading 2/26/87.
There you go.
See, the number guy just walked in now, so he can look. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. He can knock them things out. Like I'm real complex. I can get detailed and be real detailed, but when it comes to
Yeah,
like him really just reading you like that, like he
yeah.
come with it. Two twenty
I
six
know
eighty
it.
seven.
I know it.
So for you, with your birthday being 2/26/87, we gonna you all you just add the digits individually. So it'll be 2 + 2 is 4, +6 is 10, +1 is 11, +9 that's 20, +8 that's 28, +7 is that's right? Hold on, wait. 2, 2, 4, 6, that's 10, plus 1987. So 35. No, 36.9. So you're 36.9. So the way we broke the book down, we did each individual number,
Yep.
but we tell people that, and that's how you do it. Most of the time when you look up online, they're gonna just give you that one digit. Or unless you're like an 11 or a 22, they might give you the full. But we tell people that that full number, go by that full number, because all those things in that number that makes up that vibration, you're gonna have to deal with the impact of that energy. So if you're a 36.9, then we got to look at the 3 and the 6 as well as the 9. Now the 9 is your primary number, but you can struggle between that 3 and that 6 as well. So when you look in the book, so like when you go to the number 3, well, as a 9 in general, so that will make you like the humanitarian. And so
Oh
like we say in the
wow,
book,
that's crazy, Akil, the humanitarian. That fit that, but in my opinion, from what I've seen on this page every day, a black man reads the humanitarian. Man, that's spot on in my opinion.
yeah. So
My
with the
opinion.
9, you gotta
Yeah.
look at when you're looking at the number 9. The symbology is important in itself. The way the number looks, all that matters because it's still a symbol. You gotta remember the first people. They did everything. They were showing us with symbols. A number is still a symbol. So the way a number looks gives you hints about its vibrations too, and the way that it operates. So a 9, any number times 9 always comes back to 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. 9 times 5 is 45. 4 plus 5 is 9. So every other number is a part of the 9. So the 9 is at the end. So whenever you're dealing with a 9, you're dealing with an old soul. You're dealing with somebody who has a lot of wisdom.
He is old,
Somebody who
so
has to be sure that they follow their heart. This lifetime is about you going with your heart. You can't do something for lesser causes. It got to be about your values. You being held at a higher standard. You might even feel like when people do stuff and it's bad, you can't do it because you can't get away with it, because you are held to a higher standard, because you are a 9. You are an old wise soul. You have to abide by what the wisdom that you know in your heart.
That's
You
him.
can already live.
That's him.
So you got
That's
to
him.
stay true to that wisdom now.
That is him.
9 in itself. So the 3 and the 6 is gonna make up your 9 too. So that means the 3 goes back to sensitivity and expression. So you got to make sure that you always able to speak your truth without no shame, because you might struggle with your expression sometimes. But when it comes to dealing with that 3, and with that, so that means that you can have allergies. You could be really affected by your environment from time, like the way something. You very particular about everything. And see, the 6 and the 9. If you look at a Cancer symbol, it kind of look like a 6 and a 9. So the 6 is the mother and the 9 is the father. So when you look at a 6, it curves up. So you think about a pregnant belly. Remember I said about the symbol of the number itself. So a 6 is like a belly. So when you're dealing with a 6, you're dealing with nurturing, responsibility. You're dealing with the mother. You're a visionary, but you also are a perfectionist. So you hold yourself to some high standards.
Wow.
You can really, really, really beat yourself up when you don't meet them standards. And you
She
can't do
breaking
that
it
to
down.
yourself as a 6.
She breaking
Because
it
you're
down.
supposed to remember that your imperfections are perfect. You just have to learn to accept them. That's the key with the 6. You just got to accept it. And so you might have felt like you had a lot of misunderstanding, like it's been hard for people to misunderstand you throughout your life, between both your mother and your father, because you got energy around both the mother and the father. So your mother could be like everything. Your mother could be the world to you, or she could just have like this really heavy impact on the way you go about doing everything. And let me see what else. You want to add anything?
I got a question, sis.
Go ahead, read it.
Now, I got my sister's birthday. Can you do one more, please? Is that possible? One more? Just
Sure.
one more?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Go ahead.
My sister was 4/9/1989.
4/9
4/9/1989.
4/9 1989.
1989?
404.
Stubborn.
Ooh.
They want to be the
Very stubborn.
They're empath too.
Very stubborn. But you're a boss though.
What's her number?
Huh?
What's her number?
404.
404. Okay.
404.
It can manifest into an 8.
Yeah, it can, like my husband said, it can manifest into an 8 because you got a 4 and a 4. So it's like,
Okay.
but with the 404, so with the 0, we put the 0 in as the empath. And what that means is whenever you see a 0 in the life path number, 9 times out of 10 that person empath. And they have to struggle. Their struggle a lot of times are based in their inner fears. They have to face their inner fears in order to create what it is they want to create, because a 0 is like a portal or a womb. So you can birth anything out of that 0, but at the same time, because it's a 0, it can get stuck like a wheel. It can be stuck and not move. So your inner fears can have a lot to do with it. So, and with that 4 has to do with, it's all about stability and process. So she has to be sure that she doesn't skip steps. You know how the basketball player Jordan B, the process, I respect the process. She has to learn to enjoy the journey along the way. and not do, because if she doesn't follow the process, if she try and skip steps, she can end up making it harder for herself and end up having to do more work for herself instead of, it's kind of like, what's the saying? Measure 100 times and cut once.
Cut. I love that quote. Cut
That's
once.
that's
Love that
a
quote.
4. That's a 4 because they gotta
Love
learn
that.
that commitment there, and it can go back to their role in the family, and them having to address something within the family. Not to say that they had a bad issue with family, they just might not have liked their role in the family. Like, let's say if somebody is the baby and they get treated a certain way being the baby, you know what I'm saying? Like, they will have to address that because they can cause all type of commitment issues even when it comes to them doing something. So a 4 can stay the role and they can be in it for the long haul if their 4 is working properly.
This is
So that's
crazy,
why they're
man.
stubborn, because they can.
I did not plan for a live reading, and all of these notes I have, I was not planning for the real time. That's crazy. I couldn't even plan.
I
That's the
think,
guard. That's the
overly
guard right
talking,
there.
and I think
That's
that's
the
what we
guard
should
right
do.
there.
I think
Y'all should
sometimes
do it more
people do.
often. Y'all should just do it more often, but just open up the lines, I guess, let somebody get their birthday and just
Yeah.
break it down. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I have another question, sis.
Mhm.
Within the writing process of this book, what was something that was challenging or something that you didn't anticipate to be a roadblock in your journey of writing? Because, all right, bro, I
Mhm.
appreciate you stopping through, Akil. But whenever you're writing a book, I love focusing on the writing process, and sometimes things come out of nowhere. You didn't really plan for it to happen. So, did you have any kind of those situations like that in your process, y'all process together?
I think,
Any bumps in the
honestly,
road?
right, it wasn't hard for me. Writing itself, like putting the words on the paper, wasn't hard at all. It just was like a flow. But I tripped myself up. Me personally, I got tripped up on all the details. Like, how am I supposed to structure this? How am I supposed to write this? How does this go? How do I put the margins? And I kept letting little small things like that stop me so much in the beginning. Like, it was just all the technical things, and I had to stop, and I had to address myself. Because I was like, you can't let your mind play tricks on you and trick you into thinking, into overthinking, because I deal with that perfection too, and sometimes it can make you stagnant. Trick you into thinking something's not good enough or it's not ready.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? And so I
yeah.
had to deal with that part. That was like the little technical stuff was probably the hardest thing. Like, actually just it's just getting started. I think that's just it. Like, once you just get past all of the hoopla and just go, and now I understand why there are softwares or programs that's like distraction free. I get it, so that you can
Yeah.
just write. Like, I think that's the most important thing for me that I learned. You just need to write. Just write. Just get it out there, and eventually, like, you can structure it later. You can always find the format later, but you don't want to hold yourself up because it's like a blockage. Like, when I got that book out, like, getting this first one out, it just felt like everything opened up in me on an energy level.
Hmm.
It just felt
I can
like,
relate. I
and
can
it, and
relate.
it's a brain thing. You know how
I
it
can
is
relate.
when you accomplish something that you don't think you can, and you get that boost in your brain. So,
So let me ask you, when you first have this thing in your mind to manifest from 2 or 3 years ago, and you
uh-huh.
finally put that pen to the paper, you finally produce it, you publish it, and that thing finally come in the mail. You finally touch that thing with your hands. How did that feel? What was that like?
I felt like crying.
I
I
did
felt like,
cry. I'm not gonna lie. I cried. My book came in the
yeah.
mail the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I was in front of the wifey, opened that box up, 100 books.
Yep.
I'm sitting there boohoo crying, man.
Yep.
I know
I
what it's
felt
like.
like, that's how I felt too, man. I felt like crying because it was like, I did it, and it was
You
like,
did.
because at
You
first
did.
too, and see, and for my husband, his thing was, I
Did he
kept,
cry?
and I mean, I don't want to speak for him, but I do
Yeah.
recall
Yeah.
him saying to me a lot, the length. He was like, I want to make sure it's enough. I want to make sure that, we just, that it's full, and it was like, and I felt what he was saying. And it was just like, not necessarily a page number thing, but you just want to fully get your, I don't know. It's like get your vision. You know, you as a writer, you understand what it is.
I get it. I get it.
So yeah.
I get it.
So
And you and I talked offline about the writing process in the past, and I was saying like when I made my books, I'm trying to make them smaller on purpose because of the generation that we live in, and like people not necessarily all. See, we on Bookstagram right now, so a lot of my friends in this room, we read 500-page books, we read 400-page books. That's
right.
that's any day. But the average person that I'm writing to, the audience that I'm addressing, they probably don't read books.
Right.
They probably don't
It's
even like
important.
books. They probably don't even study. So I can't pretend the person I'm writing to is like me.
Right.
I'm trying to talk to the guy at the barbershop. He just want to talk, shoot the breeze right quick. I got to hit him real fast and then get out of there. So
right. You got.
that's what I'm thinking about whenever I'm writing.
Yeah, that's important to know your audience. You gotta know who you're talking to. And that was it. Yeah, no, we was like, well, and talking to you made me feel so much better because you gave me ideas and made me look at it different. And I was like, you know what? He's right. I didn't even think about that. That's a great idea. And it spiraled so much because I'm thinking about the movie breakdowns as books. I'm really thinking about the movie breakdowns as books. I'm thinking about it.
Let's jump to that right now, since you just said it. So for the people that's watching, you got to go follow her page off the top. She has always done the most amazing movie breakdowns. I'm talking about The Matrix. I'm talking about Loki from the Marvel Comics. I'm talking about she did the Last Dragon joint recently. After Earth. Country. She did Lovecraft Country. I mean, you can name a bunch of phenomenal movies that the way she breaks them down and make you see them psychologically and the chakra systems and astrology once again and numerous. It's all of these things she's seeing in the average onlooker doesn't really notice those things in those movies, and it makes you watch the movies way different. So I want to ask you first, when did you start doing movie breakdowns and why? One last thing, The Matrix. My favorite one that she ever did was years ago on The Matrix. Yeah. She made me go back and watch the whole thing all over again based on her movie breakdown. So what made you start doing that? And like, why do you do that?
Honest, I think it's I think that it's my unique way of how I got into it. How did I get into it? Man, I don't know how I got into it. I mean, because okay, well, let me go back. I probably started in like 2010. I would say 2010. I probably started. It's around the time I started to study like occult information, and I learned that the way that they tell the way that information is best relayed, the most complex informations, is through storytelling. It's the best way to relay complex information. That's what the ancestors did. That's why most of our things were oral, because we just orally told the story, and it spoke to your subconscious. And everything that is done that way. So when you go to the movies and the lights go out, they dim, and you're in a dome, it's representing your mind, because it's a story laying out how it's your subconscious. And you think about it, how it relates to life. You think about the words used. It's just everything in characters. And you think about your character. You feel what I'm saying? You think about the role that you play in people's lives, and you look at every story every good story has a certain formula. And there's certain particular characters, and they all go back to the way the occult is trying to tell you one thing. They're all telling you one thing. Everything that you are seeking is already within you. You just have to look within to find it. That's what everything is saying. Every movie ultimately layers down to that one ultimate truth. And every religion, if you take every religion down to that level, is telling you the same thing. And when I got to this great truth in my mind, it was how I knew it was the best way that you can get any of this spiritual information or empowering information to the people, is to tell them a story. that's just what you do. That's just how it is. And so I started
Yes.
to watch Hollywood because you know they say Hollywood is where it's at. You know, all the occult people are in Hollywood. So when you look at the movies, that's how they are talking. And I started, and by me learning everything about symbology, I just knew. So when I look at certain movies, I already know. It's like, so when you're looking at a movie and you see somebody in a wheat field, they in the spirit realm. They're dealing with death. They're borderline dead. If they're not dead, they're on the verge of dying. It's just certain things that is being told to your subconscious that you don't really understand is being told to you. You see what I'm saying? And I wanted to free people. I wanted the people to get it so that they can free themselves. That's the only way you're gonna be free. It's literally the only way to liberate your mind and take your mind back. Because everything
Yes.
is out to get your mind. Everything wants to control your mind. It doesn't have to control you physically if it controls your mind.
Especially these
So
days in the
the
attention economy.
yeah. So the movies you watch, the music you listen to, the commercials that you see, the jingles that you hear, everything, the melodies, all these things have an occult science. The way they talk to you and speak to you with a certain tone and go up and down when they say certain things, it's a science. So why don't they teach us these sciences? Because they want us to play in the bottom row. So that's how I got into the movies.
Wow.
Long,
I
long
love
way
it.
around. That's how I got into the
No,
movies.
that was the direct way. That was great, man. And let me ask you a small funny question. Do you ever now at this point? Do you ever like just watch a movie? Like I call it dumbing out. Do you ever just sit there and just watch a movie or
Oh
watch a
yeah.
TV show, or is your mind always doing the calculation thing?
Not always. I mean, sometimes I can't help it though, because I feel like even if somebody not intentionally, even if it's not intentional, it's there. Like that's why sometimes I think that I might be a little too spiritually inclined, the way I look at it, because I feel like everything has a spiritual message. You know what I'm saying? It don't have
So
to
do I.
be heavy
So do I.
layered, but it just
Yeah.
might be, but
Cause
I'm gonna enjoy it. Don't get me wrong now. I know how to
oh
enjoy
yeah, yeah.
myself. I love
Facts.
the
Facts.
entertainment,
Facts. Yes.
so I can
Yes.
definitely,
Because
just watch some stuff
I
and entertain
I asked that question because after watching a lot of your movie breakdown videos, and of course the brother pay homage, KT the art degree on
me.
YouTube. Go
Yep,
YouTube that
yep,
brother.
yeah, KT.
The black dot old videos, black dot. Some
Yeah,
guys like that where I can't help it. When I watch TV now, my mind is always doing the.
yep.
My mind always. I can never hardly just sit there and just
But
watch a movie or something and just
yeah,
turn it
but you
off. I
can't
can't
really,
turn it off.
you can't really turn it off though. You can't really turn, like we were just sitting looking at Coming to America too, and I was like,
I haven't seen it yet.
you know what, man, this movie is spiritual as hell. Even though I've seen it a bunch of times, I mean, I've seen it a couple times,
See
and I'm
now I want to
watching it
see it.
just for what it is. It's like
Yeah.
it's a real spiritual message still in this movie. So it's like, and you know what? Sometimes you're gonna watch something and you'll catch something that you didn't catch before anyway.
Of
So
course.
I guess you can say it is always working, because sometimes, like, dang, I never noticed it before. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
that's me and my husband. We
Yeah.
do that a lot, though. We'll just,
I could imagine. I
because
could
we
imagine.
we we set our life up to be like that, because we pretty much set it up so we home majority of the time. We
Yeah.
homeschool our kids, and we do a lot of studying and reading, and that's just
Okay.
kind of how we
So
got it.
so so you kind of naturally went there just now. It just happened. But I wanted to ask you. Tell me about the writing process of this book with your husband, but even beyond the book, just like you said, how y'all life set up. Because back to religion, back in the old church days, a lot of times you might have had the mama at church, but the daddy wasn't going to church.
Yeah.
Or even if daddy was going to church, mama was going. It was always one or the other a lot of times, not always a two-part in the couple. And now outside the church, in this knowledge world, I've met so many wonderful guys, but let's say their wife not really on that wave.
Man, why
Or
don't you come about this?
I met so
Man,
many
you should
spiritual
come get in this
ladies.
live. I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah.
about,
Come on in, come
you should
on
come
in,
get in this
come
live,
on
bro.
in, man. Come get
We
some of
doing
that.
something over
But
there.
it's all good. But I met some spiritual ladies, but their spouse is not really on that. So it's rare to find those two people in the same. I can only imagine y'all house. I can
It,
only imagine the conversations. I can only imagine.
I think.
Y'all watching TV, just stealing.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's really, really hard when you not. You know how the Bible say you gotta be on equal yoke.
Equal yoke.
That's true. That is true, and it don't because if you're not able to see, because you gotta have the same goals. You gotta ultimately have the same foundation, and if the foundation is not there, then you're eventually it's gonna run its course. I mean, we are always changing. Don't get me wrong, we are always changing as individuals. We go through cycles. That's something else that numerology teaches too. You know, because if we go through different cycles, like I'm about to enter a different cycle in my life. So I'm about to encounter on different types of things and maybe have certain obstacles that's gonna teach me specific lessons related, you know what I'm saying, to certain things. And my husband gonna go through the same thing at the same time. So when we go through these experiences, these things change us, they transform us. So it's important. I really think it's important to at least at the foundation, you have to be on the same page at the foundation. Like you have to ultimately be building the same thing, because if the foundation different, we building two different things. We building off of different things, and we're not gonna last. Eventually, something's gonna come along that's gonna rock the foundation of us. Eventually, it's just like like a storm or an earthquake or something. Certain buildings aren't built to withstand certain types of things. So certain relationships are the same way. So that's why, like, when it comes to work, people don't understand how much work is in a relationship, is in a partnership, is in a marriage. You know what I'm saying? It's constant work. So you always got to kind of like keep that in mind. And I think that if at the foundation y'all can see eye to eye, if at the foundation, regardless of what you call it on the surface, if at the foundation you can be there, then you can be straight. But I keep
that respect level. It is hard. It is hard
because a lot of times people not, and you love people.
I tell all my friends,
where they at, but
I never advocate myself as a relationship expert. It's not what I do. That's not my realm. I don't make any kind of posts like that. I don't do lives like that. But a lot of people come to me, being in psychology, I guess. It's just I try to be a reachable, accessible person for information. So people come to me with their relationship stuff. And I try to tell people all the time, first of all of us are flawed. At this age of life, most of us have some kind of trauma we never addressed from childhood. We all have our past relationship stuff, whatever that stuff was. And now we're damaged people trying to connect with another damaged person. And make it smooth. It doesn't even sound right just saying it aloud. But that's what most of us are doing. If you're dating, you're trying to, you damage, they damage, come together and make something that's clean. And that's pretty difficult, you know?
Yeah, it is. And I see, like, who is this book Bay? The Pattern app. The Pattern app, that is a good app. I use the Pattern app too. And that's why, like, I do encourage people to, like, look into energy, like, look into your numerology, look into your astrology, so you can understand your partner. Because all it's gonna do is help you understand that person. We don't process information the same. We don't process the data the same way. It's different for every individual. So it's important for you to understand how your partner loves, how your partner wants to be loved, how your partner communicates. Because communication is more than, and this is an issue, communication is more than the way what we saying. Communication is also about hearing. So it gets so misconstrued with just about what we saying, and it's not enough about what we hear. You know what I'm saying? Because hearing is very important when it comes to your perception. Because if a person is not trying to understand you, they're not going to hear you from a frequency where they can come to an understanding with you. And sometimes that happens because people might be triggered and they are already, emotionally, whatever things are happening because of our experiences in our past. We just be repeating certain traumas, we be repeating cycles, and we have to learn how to be open enough, you know what I'm saying, so that we can just, get more intimate with each other.
Let me tell you, the minute I got your book and I did my numbers, did my mathematics, I'm a number 7, right? I told you that on the thing. I'm a number 7. I started reading about the number 7 and getting excited about myself. I immediately stopped and did wifey
Did the
mathematics.
wife.
Wifey, boom, found wifey number. Like I want to know more about her and her motivations and what might be an obstacle for her and what's her
Right.
hangups and
Right.
what she might need or how she's wired. Like that's more important almost to know myself whenever you're married. Like
Yep. It is though.
I gotta be able to be with this person, so I need to know who this is. You know.
Yep. Totally.
So man, I definitely I can rant and rave about this book. I give it out of 5 stars. I give it a full 5 out of me. That's real talk.
Appreciate it. We
I
appreciate
mean,
it for sure.
friends or not, family or not,
honestly,
it's straight 5, man.
We was really like, we had to kind of, we really had to, man, we had to practice what we preach. I'm just gonna be 100 with you. We had to practice because
Of course.
we know we supposed to been did this, and it was like we can't keep holding our own self back. You know what I'm saying? So it was necessary.
Before we ride out, somebody just said I need my girl numbers ASAP. What's up? What's her birthday? What's her birthday, King? What's her birthday? Go ahead and drop my sister cash app. Drop the cash app, sis. We doing these numbers. Drop the cash app.
Hey, y'all can
Go send it to the site.
Because we do readings. We do readings. We do
Thanks.
Tell
them that.
We do the couples consultations, man, because it's, like I said, it's important, man. It take a lot, man, with your partner, man. And look, a lot of people don't know this, man, but what we did, what we did. Last year we got ordained. So we actually became ordained because in the future what we want to do, unions. We want to do real spiritual unions, beyond like traditional where we sit with people, and we looking at your energy and all of this. Because we holistic, we holistic psychologists. We certified holistic psychologists. So
facts. She said put that cash app. What's the cash app? So she said put that cash app in there.
It's Know Thyself Universe. Let me put it. I'm gonna put it in the thing.
Go ahead, drop it in there. Drop it in there.
There it is.
Thanks. Thank you. Did the homeboy drop his math? Or did he say it? No, he didn't say it. He didn't say it.
Shoot me an inbox on the
okay.
There it is. When you got everything, I got you.
Before we ride out, I gotta ask. I ask all my author friends this. You got that first book, you got that feeling. Will there be any more publications out of this wonderful house? Will there be any more things to look forward to?
Absolutely. Look, I already got something. I'm working on something.
Okay.
So it's in its gestation period.
Okay.
So it's it's formulating.
Yeah, we cooking. We cooking.
Yeah, I'm getting it right. But I'm gonna tell you this: in the future, I will hope to take my writing to manuscripts, man. I really want to write, because I love movies. I love movies and shows, and the power is in the storytelling. I just story. I think that's what I'm gonna do too, though. Novels and stuff like that.
I was just gonna say, because for the past year I've been studying in private. I've been studying like young adult fiction and stuff like that, because now that we have a lot of tools, you, myself, your husband, now we got to go into the stories and put this stuff and embed it in the story, the same way Hollywood do, other folks do, but do it for our sake with the right vibration on there, the right frequency. It's all positive, not hurting nobody, but to help enrich people and put that in these stories, in these characters, man. So I got a young adult project I'm working on for the past year, and we're going to address gentrification. We're going to address the school system push out. We're going to address mental health issues in our youth. We're going to address a lot of things, man. Bullying.
Yeah.
Bullying.
Yeah.
We're going to layer all that in there, man.
Yeah. I think mental health is going to be like a top one for me. The next book is going to be a mental health. The next book is definitely, it's going to be more like a alchemy mindset type of book.
Okay.
So it's going to be like, I feel like this numerology book, me and my husband really put this one a lot together. And I feel like this next one is like, it's going to be more my thing.
I'm going to tell you on a live. what I told you in private. You got about 50 books inside of you right now.
I feel
And
that.
I'm on it, so he do too. They got 100 books in that house.
Yeah.
They got 100 books in there, man. But inside of both of y'all.
I
You
appreciate
know what I
it,
mean?
man. Appreciate the
Yeah, but
support.
before we rock,
Appreciate all of y'all
give
that came on.
yes,
All of
give
y'all.
them
Thank
how to get the
y'all.
website, where to find the book, and about the readings and your podcast. Give them all the handles. Give them everything.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, check
Give it
this.
to them.
Y'all can follow me. I just put all the handles up on the
Okay,
page.
okay,
And I
okay.
just dropped the website. If you want to buy the paperback from us, I just put that in the comments. The podcast you can find on Apple Music. It's on Spotify. It's on
The
Anchor,
Black
Google. Yeah, it's
Occultist.
everywhere. The Black
Get
Occultist
that.
Show.
Get
So
that. Get that.
it's
Get that.
yeah, y'all get on the podcast because I pretty much put it out every weekend. So I got something good coming for y'all this weekend.
Oh, the next movie breakdown. I got a suggestion. Man, thanks so much for staying around, Reggie, my brother Reggie, powerful brother, very big platform in this space. Thanks for being on the call, Reggie.
Appreciate you.
The next movie breakdown suggestion.
Okay, give me that
Are you
suggestion.
gonna break down the series Them? I've been watching Them. It's so much packed in that
I
series.
like them. I like them though.
It's
Them
so
was
much
heavy.
packed in there.
Them was
It is
like
heavy. It is heavy.
Lovecraft
Yeah,
and
yeah.
us
It's in that
having
genre.
Lovecraft and us having a conjunction. I like them. I don't know. I might
I
put it out,
love Them.
but I'm gonna
I
tell you
love
this.
Them.
I will say this. I got a whole list of movies that I've already like. They're a must that I have to do them, and I
Okay.
don't know how I want to do it. Like I don't know yet if I'm gonna just do them and put them on YouTube. If I'm gonna just, I haven't decided yet, but
Okay.
I am taking movie suggestions though because
Okay.
I'm gonna do
I'm gonna
something
inbox
with the
you.
movie breakdowns.
I'm gonna
I don't know
inbox
if
you
it's
my
gonna be a
list.
book or YouTube.
'Cause
I don't know what I'm gonna
we
do, but I'm gonna do something.
we on the
Like I
same
have
vibe so
to.
much. We on the same vibe so much. When I woke up one day and looked at my phone and I saw Bruce Leroy, I'm like, that's part of my favorite movie of all time.
So if
When
okay,
I
I'm gonna
saw
say
After Earth, not many folks even
no by After
know
Earth.
about that.
The
They
After
was
Earth.
talking about After
But you know
Earth.
what I really like? I like
I
Split
love
too.
that
I like
movie.
Split. Split was one of my favorite ones doing Split.
Split,
I love
split.
Split. I love
Bro,
Split
so
because
look, for those
like
that
it's
don't know, I teach psychology. In all of my psychology classes, I reference a lot of these movies because there's so much psychology in there. It's so much laced in there. It's clear as day.
and all I do is see, and that's all psychology is. So all I do is take the psychology and everything, and I link it, and I show how everything is just all the same thing. How it's the occult, religion, psychology.
Because
It's nothing but words.
psychology is the study of your soul, correct?
Correct.
The study of your soul.
Correct.
They focus on inside this cranium, it's the study of your soul. You know what I'm
Bliss
saying?
is a good one that just came out. Bliss.
Liz,
Bliss.
I think I heard about that.
I don't know if I've seen that one. We're gonna have to
I'm about
check
to go on
out
YouTube that. I'm
Bliss.
about to go and find what's up with that bliss. What's going on,
Bliss.
sis? My
Bliss.
sis just jumped into the room. We wrapping up as we speak, sis, but you got that playback value. I will be sharing this thing like crazy all weekend. That's what I do. My very first interview is done. It's a wrap. It was fire. We had live readings. We was going in, breaking down religion. You name it, man. So I appreciate you and your husband. I love y'all and what y'all doing. Keep doing it. I'm your boy, Sean P. I got about 5 more interviews already lined up in the cannon, in the tuck. Look forward to it on your next Friday. Sean P. Ah, we did it.
Peace. Yeah, peace, man.
Yeah.